How I started was being very active in sports back in the islands after graduating from high school, and especially playing major sports like the football, basketball, running track, running baseball, and so forth. When I arrived here in LA, we all became stagnant because we didn't know who to go, where to go, what activities there was involved. And very fortunately, a friend of mine who we grew up together and graduated and played ball together was at BYU, which is Brigham Young University in Utah, met this man by the name of Mr. Parker, Edmund Parker. He graduated there and came to Pasadena and opened up a school here. And at that time, Hawaii, people from Hawaii were like lost kids. And what happened, when we meet someone from Hawaii, we become like a family. And if they were older, we'd look up to them as a brother, uncle, father, or whatever image there was. At that time, Kenpo karate, I didn't know what Kenpo karate was. All I knew it was a striking art, a fighting art, and that was very, very, what you want to call, I would say heavy in Hawaii. If you had that art, people would respect you and you would be registered with the police department. I mean, it wasn't art by itself, it was a deadly art. Well, knowing Ed, as I met him, I was very impressed with his size, his movements, what he does, what he did, and so forth. And the one fella that was with him that I never knew, but he was also from the islands that came from Utah too, his name was Harold Wong. At that time he was a brown belt. I didn't know what brown belt meant or what have you. And I joined the class and we started, and I was so involved in it because the exercise and the movements that he did or whatever we did at the time, it was easy. I could take it, I could do it, I could form it, I could place with it. The only thing I wanted to know was the history, the knowledge, because everything what Ed did, I copied. I copied exactly what he did, especially his footwork. My main concern was to watch his footwork, because I found out later on that once the footwork is in play, the target opens up, and he strikes, his kicks, and so forth was what I was very intrigued. Now, when he showed me something, it became an end, and I wanted more. Where was there any more from that one point? So not knowingly, I had created my own, how my body felt, how I did what he did. I duplicated and I ran around it, went above it, went underneath of it, and developed and put my own thing together with it. So if he showed me 3, 4, 5 movements, I would add 3, 4, 5 more motion towards that. So my theory was, the man has to be down. And that's how I got started with training with Kenpo with Ed Parker was very hard, vicious, I mean plain old hard work. When we used to train, ki-ai, the word ki-ai was a medicine. If you didn't have that, there was nothing there. So what we did was everything that we did, we just yelled it out and did what we could, and the training was very hard, conditioning and so forth. I found myself that my body built from 125 to 130 pound frame up to 180 pounds. By the time I reached a level with Ed, if you want to call it a black belt level, I was weighing about 180 pounds, 165 to 180 pounds, easily, and yet maintaining the same movements that I started when I first began my movements. We had a fellow by the name of Warren, I can't remember his last name. He was about, I'd say about 6'1", 6'2". Ed Parker himself is not a small man either. But I used to jump over them. I mean, kicking their heads and everything and so forth. Those were the days, and unfortunately, those days we didn't have no videos or no pictures. I never had pictures taken of myself when we used to train. We used to train so hard, I mean, repetitively, basics, and not knowing what basic was until you developed that. That's when you found out how important basic was. The basic strikes, the basic movement, the foot pattern, the foot movements, repetition, the kick, how many kicks we were throwing one day or one evening or what have you, and so forth. those are the type of training we used to have in those times. And when we did techniques, the techniques was contact, not just tap or control, it was contact. And if you didn't move along with the movement, you would get hit. And these are the things that we used to do. And doing the techniques, you felt reality was involved, and that's how I felt. This is my feeling. I felt the reality, it was my life or the person's life. So my impression towards that was I had to go through it. And that's where I did my training. My training was that. You know, go on a low horse, jumping up in it. Every night I would be jumping. When my family was there, I'd put my wife on my back, my children on my legs, and I'd be jumping for the ceiling every night, practicing. No matter what I did, I was practicing. I would go see my fiance or what have you at that time. Instead of sitting down, holding her hands or hugging her or what have you, I'd be out in the yard training. I mean, that's what it was with me. I ate, slept that. There was nothing else involved. As your body and your mind train so hard that nothing matters. Not even anybody or any obstacle should never come across me. So that's how I trained. And the habits that I picked up, the discipline that he gave me, and the understanding in life that he gave me, I give credit to him for what he is and what I am today. Well, many years ago, the martial arts in Hawaii, there was no such thing as a form, consist of, or what have you. How Ed started that was the fact that I started teaching. I taught a lot of his classes, beginner's class and advanced class and so forth and so forth. So when we were training, there was no forms. All we did was repetitions. So now I realized that, hey, I was getting tired of just hollering myself. So I created the very basic forms that you are doing it today, which is off of the cross pattern, and merely bringing the basics into it. Now the forms from there on, after we left Ed, forms we created from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or what have you, there was that. I got involved in those forms, but the forms to me was not that important, as I was concerned about techniques, my movements and everything and so forth. From that on, Ed had produced these forms through some of the experience that we've gone through and watched the Japanese system. The Japanese system consisted of a lot of the forms that they put together. Like they say, Ippon #1, #2, and so forth. And that's how forms were created throughout Kenpo. I mean, other styles too never had no forms, but they created their own. And that's how the forms of Kenpo today has been created. Getting to the point of being ranked with Ed Parker, I had the easiest time of learning his art, producing his art and so forth. So I would go out and play basketball, play other sport and come back and reproduce and so forth. Then when it was time to ranked to be his black belt, but didn't consider whether it was the first, second, third, or what have you, but being awarded by him and so forth was the biggest thrill that I could ever have in my life. And being the first to be awarded the black belt, not considering the first, but being awarded a black belt alone was an achievement of myself. And that's where I stand today. Things just turned from that one point on. And the time that we were training, Chuck Sullivan was there, Mike, I'm sure Dave Hibbler was there, Richard Montgomery, Rick Flores, let's see, Warren, Pete, George Halberian, Bob McDaniels. I mean, they were all Dan Bafiatis, Ben Otaki. We were the old timers of the schools and so forth, and they were rewarded at that time. Like I said, never knew how big the family could ever be. And black belt at that time was very honored to be a black belt. All right, we left Ed Parker, or I left Ed Parker in a very, very good term. The love of a father, or love of an uncle, or love of a brother. That's how we left. Till today, I still look up to him for what it is. Why I left? I went out to seek more knowledge. His interest was not in our area anymore. His business, his transaction, all his ties along with the business that he went on left us behind and went forward. And we felt that it was our turn to start going and looking for more knowledge. As far as he and I are concerned, and his family, never. Never an ugly moment at any given time that we had among us. Because you got to remember one thing. I was his student. I was his black belt, yes. And I left it at that. As far as friends were concerned, friendship, family ties, and so forth, it was always there also. So my knowledge was his permission to go out and look and seek for more knowledge. And that's why I left. Since Ed left, when he passed away, I'm sure many of all of us, including all of you that's out there today, really miss the foundation, the father, the art itself. I did too. I still think about him quite a bit. I still see, I picture ourselves together in so many places, him playing ukulele and so forth. Now that he's gone, and I've met people along the tournaments that I've gone to and so forth, and I've dropped myself on and kept on seeking the knowledge that I wanted to, and came back and produced my system or my schools or my students, and to go out there and so forth, I hear about Kenpo. Kenpo is a beautiful art, and it's a wonderful art. But now there's too many children. The father is gone. Everybody is all scattered all over the place. And my thing is, why? Why should it be this way? You were taught the respect of the art. You were taught the undoing of the art. And I think knowing each other, pulling each other, make them realize that the seniors are still out there and they're looking to help you. That's why I'm out there. I'm out there just to tell you people that I'm out here to help you. Not to change, not to make any differences, but you need my information, my background, what happened in the past, I have it with me. And that's all I ask. And it's a shame to see what people say or do and what they're doing today in the art. And I mean, I don't like it, but then who am I to say? All I want to do is I want to share you who I am, what I am. And I hope I can get together with everybody and touch base with you guys, just to know where we were in the old days, how it was in the old days, and till today, the top 5 black belts, or the 4 black belts, let me put it that way, that was from Ed Parker. We still meet once a year. Any given time when somebody says something, let's get together, we still meet today.
Who are they?
And these are Rich Montgomery, myself, Rick Flores, George Cadena, and Buck Voigt, and also the influence of the Chinese system that Ed was first introduced, Mr. James Ibrao. We still get together once a year, and we still train with the man. And I am still training with the man, and we still work out. And I still go to the man and watch him and learn from him once a week. The man is 76 years old, but we still have that bond together. And that's what I'd like to see people out there, to feel that bond, the family ties, the love of each other, the respect of each other, regardless of how good you are. It doesn't matter. You gotta realize one thing. The time you spend together is so important in life, because it not only becomes a friend, it becomes something like a family, a tie that you can depend on, joke to, tease or what have you. It's a wonderful feeling, and that's what I like to share with the people that's out there today in the Kenpo family.
Well, lacking in the martial arts, it has deteriorated quite a bit. And to me, I think a lot of these instructors need to go back to their original instructor and more or less be understanding. I can see the improvement. I can see the development of their own. I'm sure we all do develop our own situation one way or the other, but to keep the culture or the background behind it is, to me, is very important, because till today, I still go back to my instructor, no matter how you look at it. Whether I do work out with him or whether I just sit with him, he gives me more energy, more knowledge as far as I see with him. And I feel this is what stabilizes a lot in me, what I do for my students.
As soon as the patting motion comes in, this is going in already. Okay? So make sure that motion is in play, all right?
To what do I attribute my power and technique? I feel I have to put that with my instructor for the values he's giving me. And to top it off, I have a senior that's way above me, that their values, and I still think that I still need that value, and I attribute those powers all to them.
Here. The circular motion that I'm introducing is circular and never stops. It just keeps on continuing, but then it flips-flop from one point to the other, and it changes from left to right. And it's still equal to whatever that comes towards you. Whether it's left or right, the circular motion still comes with. The double pat motion comes in hands, where all we want to do is deflect to get in to the target that we want to do. Our target is not the arm that's coming in, but it's an obstacle. So let's get rid of the obstacle and get into the motion that we want to do. So the double pat motion is an insurance that it flows and continues the flow as it moves in place. Now, as far as the hand motion is concerned, all we want to do is add the footwork along with it. The footwork can be done with your right foot forward, or you could sit on a horse, on a square horse in place, like so. Or you could stand on a one-legged motion where the right leg is fully available to use as a kick, push, takedown, trip, simultaneously as the technique adds to that motion of the circular motion. Okay? Now the digging motion that we talk about, digging, is merely to dig the force and move the force wherever that force is coming in place. And digging, by digging, we're talking about wrist motion, dropping with the wrist motion down, and exercising the movements of the wrist. More so than it is on a strike, and we do not try to strike them, because once you strike the motion, the retaliation of the strike can come back to you. So all we want to do is make the opponent feel like he's still punching in water and there's everything around him, he doesn't know where it's coming from. So all we want to do is touch, double touch the motion, and go towards the target, whether it's going to be head, chest, middle section, lower legs, any part of the body. The man chooses wherever he wants to go. Let's open up on a horse. Okay, this is the double motion I want to see you do. Make a circular motion, open hand, just dig it in slowly. That's it. You're going to make your wrist straight. Don't tilt your wrist. That's it. Keep it straight. Now reverse it. That's it. Keep going. Now open it. Tilt it over. That's it. Okay? Keep the circle going. Now reverse the circle and go back. That's it. Okay? Now tilt it vertically, straight up and down. Make the circle go towards you. That's it. And reverse it going back. That's it. Okay? Now relax. Off of this motion, now everything comes off. The continuation of a circle keeps on going. The longer the loop it goes, that's your motions that you want to end up using, okay? So first of all, let me show you what I can make you work with just with the right hand alone. The circular motion is this. We're patting the motion here in place and then picking it up with still the same wrist motion here, and the circle still keeps on going, if you see it, okay? Now, let's go tilt it over the opposite side with the left hand motion. Same footwork, coming this way, picking it up this way. As a circle loops, you can go further and further, what have you, but the motion is still here, and they're still picking it up. Okay, now let's go into the digging motion. We're going on the outside of the motion, right? The patting motion is still here, but instead of going on top, we're going under here. Okay, as you can see, the circular motion is still coming in place. So as the loop can go over, can go in, and it can still extend the circle, both left and right.
Left hand, same thing from outside here. Same thing is still for doing this. Okay? Let me see what you can do now, all right? Let me throw a punch at you.
Inside?
Inside. Slowly. All right, move. No, I want you to do a circle. You're patting and you're striking. I want you to continue the circle. Don't stop, all right? That's it. Comes over. Extend. That's it. Keep going. There you go. Okay? Now reverse it from there. See? See the difference now? Okay, now go on the outside on the reverse motion. See it? One hand still keeps on coming over. That's it. Okay? Now, take it on the inside. As we had it going this way, we had it going this way now, right? Come inside of me completely. As I throw a punch towards you, lift it up, and then going down. That's it. The vertical motion is still top to bottom. That's it. Now reverse it. Okay? All right, try the opposite side with the left hand. Slowly, go in, pick it up. That's it. There you go. Okay, now, put the dig in motion with the wrist bending in place. Let me show you what I mean. The dig in motion is this, as this is coming in this way, okay? So feel the dig in motion as it comes in so you can parry. All right, try so. I'll throw a punch at you and go forward. I gotta feel the dig in motion rolling my hands down, all right? That's it. Has to be.
You want the hand carte?
No, it's gonna come up into a circle. The circle motion is still tilted, torque it down. That's it. My arm has to go down. Okay, keep the circle going. All right, move. That's it. That's it. Okay, you can see the multiple motion that's coming into place, all right? Now, on the dig in motion, I want you to move the dig in motion, all right? Slowly. Circular motion is inside. We're not going to chop this way. We're going to chop this way to hook. Okay? Slowly. Same patting motion comes in place here. This is going here, right? And then this comes into it, comes into it, comes into it, comes into it, comes into it.